we've got so many great athletes in this country, and it's a very sporting, the sporting culture here in this country is quite amazing as well. So, yeah, I think all of us have that never say die attitude, and we're willing to do the hard yards to sort of try and realise our dreams, or as get as close as possible as that. For me, obviously, being a huge Australian rules football fan growing up and come from a sporting background in that as well. So that's obviously given me a lot of drive to pursue a sporting career.
Week 2 in Melbourne gave us the chance to meet up with one of the true greats of Australian tennis over recent years. A 2-time Grand Slam winner and former world #1, Lleyton Hewitt has been a shining light for the game's development in his homeland. And even today, he remains one of the toughest players to beat on tour.
One thing with Lleyton is from every time he walks onto the tennis court is he gives 100% every single point. And he's taught the kids in Australia to play that way. And I think his legacy will be about the fight, the energy, the spirit of which he's competed. He's an unbelievable competitor. And he's contributed, particularly in Davis Cup, but also to success in the Grand Slams, to the ongoing success and the tradition of the history of Australian sport.
Davis Cup's a great event, and it sort of got instilled into me from John Newcombe and Tony Roach, the Davis Cup captain and coach when I first came along as an Orange boy and was helping out the team, and then obviously got to play my first tie under those two guys as well. It was something I dreamed about playing. Davis Cup has had such a rich tradition in Australian tennis history. I always dreamt of playing for my country in Davis Cup, and to have been able to win it twice and play in 2 other finals, it's I sort of won it by the age of 20, which was, you sort of had to pinch yourself a little bit.
A great competitor, 100%, he gives it out there. And I would like to think that after about another 4 years that Pat Raft was our Davis Cup captain, and Lleyton's expressed interest in that. I'd like to see Lleyton as the Davis Cup captain. I think he'd do a great job following on Pat.
If he's one of the game's grittiest competitors, who better to give an insight into Hewitt's off-court persona than his close friend and Aussie Open doubles partner?
A lot of people don't know Lleyton. He keeps to himself. He's very close to his friends and very loyal to his friends and with his family, but he's a great bloke. I couldn't say not enough nice things about him. Doesn't normally play doubles and Grand Slams, and he's a good mate of mine, and he did me a huge favour playing doubles here. He even had a 4-hour match that first night, and he still came out the next day to play doubles with me, so he's a great bloke.
As a wild card at this year's Australian Open, Hewitt underlined his enduring class by making the round of 16, where he took the eventual champion Novak Djokovic to 4 sets. It was an outstanding performance.
I think he's an ultimate competitor. In whatever he does, he always wants to win. He gives it his all every time. His tenacity, before was his speed. He's had 2 hip surgeries and a toe surgery, so he's probably slowing down a little bit, but he's still, he's so balanced on the court, and he tries to compete for that every ball.
He had an unbelievable will to win. He would almost will himself to win in many occasions. So I think that was the thing that stood out the most, but he had a great belief in himself and his ability. Aussies love sport and they love winners, and when we start having on-court success, we'll start to get more kids playing tennis and create more interest in the sport itself.
And Australian tennis is determined to benefit from Hewitt's passion and insight.
I'm a big believer in that. When you have a national program and you're developing younger talent, is the former players, and particularly the former players that have had that experience themselves, can come and influence the younger players and help them progress and develop.
There's still some playing time left in Lleyton's legs, and Hewitt's legacy, it appears, will be substantial. We'll leave the final word to another Aussie.
Without doubt, one of the greats of all time of Australian tennis. In fact, one of the greats of all time in general. I mean, he left absolutely nothing out on the court. And you could argue, there's been some great fighters over the years. Players like Connors comes to mind, and Lendl, and there's lots of them. But Lleyton is up there in terms of someone who gave absolutely 100% every single day, year after year. And for someone to be ranked #1 in the world for almost 2 years with his build and his game is just remarkable. He didn't have a big shot. He had to fight every single point and every single match, and I really admire that.
Next week on ATP World Tour Uncovered, presented by Rio, Winning Ways with Joe Wilfried Songer. We catch up with the flamboyant Frenchman. And it's action all the way. We've got the best of the best from 2 European indoor hardcourt events in Montpellier and Zagreb. Don't forget to log on to atpworldtour.com for your 24/7 breaking news and talk with us on Facebook and Twitter. See you next week.